Hi, everybody. I sure hope your day is off to a good start. I'm just wrapping up some gifts that I have to get ready. I bet you like getting gifts, don't you? I do too. I like giving gifts too. And you know, Christmas is right around the corner, and that's a great gift giving time, isn't it? Kind of reminds me of the gifts that we have from God. Well, they're not really gifts like this, they're not presents, they're abilities, talents, things that we can do that maybe other people can't, or things that we can do really well. Now, what if we had a talent and we never used it? Well, that would be unfortunate on two aspects, wouldn't it? The first one is it would probably dry up and go away because it's just like a muscle. If you don't use it, it atrophies. Well, the other thing is, if we don't use our gifts, what about all the people in the world that might have been positively affected by the things that we can do? Now, when I'm talking about gifts and talents, what do I mean? Things that you can do. Now, it doesn't have to be spectacular, it doesn't have to be finding a cure for a disease. Although, if you could solve this COVID thing, that would really be great. But anyway, small people, small baby steps, one thing at a time. You probably have talents that you're not even aware of, and they'll continue to grow as you get older. And what I want to tell you is it's important to start using them and to keep using them to help other people. That's really what being a disciple is. It's helping people find God. And we can do that by being true to his word and living by Jesus' example. Now, let's talk about some of those gifts. I bet some of you are really good singers. Yeah? Or maybe you play an instrument. I had a hard time carrying a tune in a bucket when I was your age, so I really admire people who can sing. And you know what? When I listen to somebody who sings or plays an instrument, it brings me joy. It really does. I love it. I so admire that kind of talent. Now, maybe you're not musical at all. Maybe you can draw pictures that are beautiful or do arts and crafts. Not everybody can do that, you know. Some people can't draw a crooked line or glue something onto a piece of paper, but maybe you can, and that's great. And that kind of art brings people enjoyment as well. Maybe you can build things. You never know. Maybe you're starting out with Duplo blocks and then Lego and then something else. And maybe someday you'll be an architect or an engineer and you'll build a beautiful building that people can appreciate. Well, those are pretty cool things. Now, I don't really know what my talents are. I have a magic thumb here. I don't know if you can see it or not, but pretty impressive, right? No, not really. But some people tell me that I'm kind of good at telling stories, and that's why I talk to you every week. Because if I can use any gift that I have to help talk to you about God and Jesus and bring you closer to them, then I think that's what God expects me to do. Because He warns us all the time that we shouldn't waste our talents, we shouldn't hide them under a bush. You know, we have to look for our talents and then we have to look after them and use them for helping other people. They're really on loan to us until Jesus comes again. We talked about that last weekend, didn't we? And we'll have to tell Jesus how we used our gifts. And we certainly want him to be proud of us, don't we? You know, sometimes talents and gifts are very, very different. That's one of the messages I want you to think about today. Because just because we can't all do the same thing really well doesn't mean that what we can do isn't important. Our friend Huda is talking in church today about Dr. Seuss. Can you believe that? Dr. Seuss as part of Parkdale's sermon? I think that's so cool. Dr. Seuss wrote a lot of books, and I bet you've read some of them. The Cat in the Hat, Green Eggs and Ham, that was always one of my favorites. He also wrote a book called The Sneetches. This is a Sneetch. Now you'll notice that this Sneetch has a little blue star on his tummy. Some of the Sneetches in the story don't have stars, and some people decided that the Sneetches with the stars were so much better than the Sneetches without the stars. Well, that's not really treating people with friendship and equality, is it? That's not following God or Jesus' word. But you know what? Their Sneetch stars gave them the thought in their mind that they could treat people differently, that because we look different or act differently or have different talents, that we can judge people and we justify treating them differently. Well, that's not right, because the Sneetches eventually learned that they're kind of all the same, and the things that make them different are actually the things that make them pretty cool and pretty unique. Now, I'm no Dr. Seuss, believe me, but I got thinking of the Sneetches, and I wrote a little poem for you, and it goes like this. The children of Parkdale are lovely, they are, whether in person or seen from afar. The Sneetches have stars on their tummies, they do, but our kids don't wear those. They love you for you. God's children at Parkdale follow his word. They lead by example, haven't you heard? They're kind and thankful and value their friends. They care about others. Their joy knows no end. They use their talents, the ones that God gave. They dream of a future like he came to save. We're not all the same, but we are to our God. Our kids are part of God's most awesome squad. They'll treat other people the same as they are. We're so very proud of our God Squad All-Stars. I am really proud of you guys. Sneetch or not, you're aces in my book. You go and discover your talents and use them wherever you can to bring people closer to God. Have an awesome week, everybody. Bye-bye.